What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Two Pumped. Oh, wait, wrong channel. What's up? It's Fineokay, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be talking over some Bellona gameplay in Smite 2. The pilot behind this Bellona is none other than Deathwalker. We were watching him play while we waited for our own turn to try out the playtest for Smite 2. So enjoy the gameplay in the background of Smite 2 while we talk about some various things. We're going to talk about the SPL. We're going to talk about how Smite 2 felt to play, as well as like our wish list for Smite 2, things we want included in the game. But first and foremost, I just want to thank everybody that came to SWC. If we got to meet, talk, take a picture, hang out, whatever, I really appreciate everybody that came up to me. You guys are the best. I'm glad we got to meet if we did. And if you got a picture of us or anything like that, you know, still make sure you share it. Obviously, it wasn't the result that we wanted, and that sucks, especially because it seems like it might be the last time that I get to go for that ring. So never achieving that elusive ring is definitely going to suck. And it hurts, but hey, that's life, and I think, you know, all any of us could do is give it our all, and I feel like that's what I did. So speaking of that, there is actually not going to be any SPL in 2024. There will be no Pro League. The plan is that there are going to be community tournaments, and there are supposed to be at least two, maybe one or two majors, like $400,000, $500,000 majors. One is supposed to be in Europe, and the other is supposed to be in the US, and that's supposed to take place on Smite 2. So Smite 1 Esports, for all intents and purposes, is done for. There's probably going to be some tournaments. I know that Bobby Inbound is going to be running a tournament in February for Smite 1. It's going to be kind of like crowd-funded, community-funded through his stream. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check him out. I'm going to be running some competitions and events throughout the year. They may be like actual tournaments, but they also might just be competitions like I did with the Roll Q Challenge, because I think doing stuff like that is also really fun because it also incentivizes streaming and making content around it, which I really enjoy. So yeah, no SPL in 2024. And even if there was SPL in 2024, my inclination or my plan basically right now is to not play in the SPL. That could change, especially with Smite 2, if I really, really love the game, or maybe if I role change and want to try it out in a different role. I could see myself still playing in the SPL, but my passion for it has dwindled a little bit. I'm getting old. I'm literally 27, and I've never actually really tried to full-time pursue content creation. And there's been plenty of times where like a new patch would come out for Smite or another game, and I really wanted to just dive deep into it, try and stream it for like 6 hours a day, grind it really hard. And just see where it could take me. And I've never really been able to do that because of, you know, the schedule when it comes to scrimming, or like a new patch would come out with Smite, I'd have to grind that so that I can make sure I'm staying on top of things for competitive. And yeah, so the plan is to not even play in an SPL, even if there was one. We'll see what happens, though. Of course, you know, I really appreciate all the supportive comments and everybody saying, keep going, next year will be your year and all that. But, you know, sometimes in life you got to move on. So that is the plan for now. So on to Smite 2 and the gameplay in the background as we watch Deathwalker continue to own on the Bellona on his main. So the first thing I noticed when I played the game is that everything felt impactful and like sort of like stimulating, especially with the graphics and just like the audio and just how like everything felt meaty. I said it on stream yesterday. You could take this however you want, but it felt meaty and deep. Those are the two perfect words I'd use to describe it. And I know from people that were able to play test it a couple months ago, other pro players, that it's come a long way already. It went from basically like, what is this piece of crap? Like, I can't even play the game right now, to this is actually feeling really good and becoming something worth playing, you know? So in just 2 months, it's come a long way. As far as like the actual game goes, some differences I noticed is that when you're building items, you're building them through components now instead of building through like a single tree. I don't really play other MOBAs, so I can't really speak to that, but I do think that they exist in other MOBAs like that. So basically I just had like, I had like the tier 1 of an item from this tree and the tier 1 from an item of this tree. And basically it could just like build into a completely different tier 3 now. So you're going to have to learn that, which I think is cool. Every like new thing they can add, I enjoy because it adds another learning curve. So it's just fresh, something that we can try out in the new game, can teach people about. And if people don't like the previous system, maybe they'll just enjoy this one more. Speaking of items as well, actives are now gone, but they're going to be attached to items. So there's going to be active items basically. You can activate them whenever you want, and you can keybind them to whatever you want. So you can have like, I don't know what the max is, but I think you can have like 3, 4, maybe 5 active items, and they can be set to like F, G, H, B, V, Z, C, or if you're on controller, whatever you want. And you can just activate those whenever you want in a team fight. So for example, take like a Wing Blade. Windblade's I think going to be pretty similar, and it's going to basically be the sprint of Smite 2. So if you're in a team fight, you're getting Ymir slowed, you can just click F, and it'll still be kind of like sprint. It'll be a Windblade. You'll be immune to slows. So that's pretty interesting. There's some other changes. Now to keep in mind, it's still very, very early, and they can change all of this if they want to. But there are teleports on the map, so you can teleport from duo to solo and solo duo, which is kind of like how Season 11 is, but they're in a different spot. Also, you can invade buffs, and it will upgrade your own buffs. So it's actually really good to invade because then you'll get a benefit on your own side of the map. There's no Invader's Curse, and also in Smite 2, there's an interact button, which is your jump. So it's your space bar. And you use this to do various things like pick up buffs. You don't just walk over a buff and pick it up now. You have to interact with the buff to grab it. And then also things like taking the teleport. And I think in the future, maybe using certain abilities, like maybe like Maui 2, you'll have to interact with it instead of just standing in it, which is cool because then you can decide when you actually want to teleport. I only got to play once, so I don't know everything, but I do want to talk about my wish list for Smite 2. And first, I want to start out by saying Smite 2 is an incredibly necessary venture for high-res guys. It's impossible for Smite to reach its full potential on a 15-year-old engine with spaghetti code and it's riddled with bugs. And honestly, even the programmers they hire are taught on current engines, not the engines that are like 2 generations old. That's part of the reason we're always experiencing bugs and stuff like that. So I really hope Smite 2 leans more on the competitive side and doesn't cater to noobs. One big problem with Smite 1 was that it was kind of like a casual game that was moonlighting as a competitive game. Whereas I want it to be like, at least this is how I see it with like Valorant and CS. And I believe this is the case with other MOBAs like League of Legends and Dota. But again, I didn't really play those, so I can't speak to it. But those are competitive games. They're hard games that people really enjoy and get into for the competitive side. They get attracted by the esports scene, and the challenge is what they're attracted to. Not necessarily just getting into an arena and just, playing casually. Now, of course, that should still exist, and hopefully people can still enjoy that in Smite 2. But I want to attract that crowd of competitive people that really want to have a challenge when they play the game and have a big learning curve. And speaking of that, I want god designs to be very complex and not balanced around noobs like I was just talking about. So take a character like Yemoja. Yemoja could not be nerfed for the longest time because she had such a low win rate, but she was super good in high-end players' hands. So hopefully the gap or the bridge, or we can make a bridge in that gap between the really new players and the high-end players, it shrinks so that we can have really good complex kits that are fun, that people can really sink their teeth into and learn very well. I'm also really hoping for at least like one small change or maybe one big change to every character that's being added to Smite, that's being brought over from Smite 1. I think they should try and keep the essence of the character, but give them something fresh for people to look forward to and, be excited about. So take example like Chalk. We uploaded a Chalk gameplay. If you play Chalk in Smite 2, I only got to play him once, but he's still just Chalk. You still just do all the same stuff, which is a plus for people that really enjoy Chalk that want to continue to play him in Smite 2. But we're also trying to attract a new crowd here, and I think adding something fresh and cool to each character's kit can really help with that. I want to play Smite 2 and want to try out stuff, I want it to feel a bit different. A perfect example of that is the Ymir change. You can now like bunny hop with Ymir wall, which is really cool, and it just gives me something to look forward to with Ymir. I really want to see ranked way more incentivized with Smite 2, which goes in hand with the last thing I was talking about, where competitive is more pushed, so that people get into the rank side, are playing actual conquest instead of arena like in Smite 1, so they can learn the game and kind of get involved with the esports scene, or at least the actual main game mode side of things. And one way to do that is with rewards. So I think people should get rewards for placing really high in ranked or doing well. Maybe achieving milestones, like let's say you finally made it to Diamond, really cool skins for that as well. Or maybe if you're top 250 in the world, or maybe top 100 in the world, you get a bunch of gems, or you get this really cool exclusive skin, stuff like that. But the other important thing, in my opinion, is reward people for being good teammates in ranked. One of the main reasons people don't even enjoy ranked is because of the toxicity part of it. So if you can reward people for being good teammates, like let's say you get 5 commendations in a ranked game, or like in 5 ranked games in a row, everybody commended you, you get like a cool skin or some extra gems or just like a small reward. And maybe it can add up over time if you're really a good teammate. But this really just lowers the negativity in ranked, people's negative outlook on it, and make it more of a positive place that people are trying to learn, get better, and climb the ranks. And then the last thing on my wish list for Smite 2, and this is just a personal thing, and I know it's kind of controversial because everyone's out there and they're the mythological elitists and all that, but I really want to have a cryptid pantheon in Smite, or just a pantheon where they can add random stuff that's just fun, So stuff like the Yeti, the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, Slenderman, and maybe some public domain type stuff, Mickey Mouse in Smite. No, I don't know about that, but yeah, I think a cryptid pantheon would be kind of cool. But yeah, that's basically it. Just a quick 10-minute little commentary talking about stuff, giving you guys an update. I'm super excited about Smite 2, and if you love Smite, I think you should be too, and you should try and support Smite 2. Smite 1 wouldn't have lasted forever. Good things don't always last, and I'm telling you, can't really get into the details, but Smite 1 would not have lasted on its current trajectory. So something needed to change. We needed to do something. But like I said, if you like Smite, please support Smite 2. And of course, it's free to play, so you can always just try out the game, see if you like it. For everyone complaining about skins and all that, Smite is a free to play game. Nobody owes you anything. It wasn't an investment when you bought these skins. They're literally just different colored pixels on your screen. Okay, you gotta remember that. Okay, so try it out and see whether you like it. If you don't like it, continue playing Smite 1 because Smite 1 will still continue to exist for the time being. So yeah, try it out. What's the worst that could happen? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down in the comments. That's where you put them, I guess. And I'll try and get back to you and answer them. But that's basically it. I'll let the rest of this Bellona gameplay ride out, although I think it's coming to an end. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Stay safe and healthy.